From a James Bond staple to a Karate Kid villain to real-life homicide, the lives of the Hawaii Five-0 cast after the series ended were anything but procedural. James Bond fans might recall Jack Lord as secret agent Felix Leiter in the first James Bond film Dr. No. His first leading role on a TV series was as rodeo rider Stony Burke on the one-season TV series of the same name, and he also guested on several hit shows, including The Untouchables and Rawhide. But Hawaii Five-0 was truly Jack Lord's show. When he took on the starring role of Detective Steve McGarrett in 1968, his contract included full control over the series. He served as unofficial producer and occasional director of the show for its 12-year run. When Hawaii Five-0 ended in 1980, Lord produced and directed a television film called M Station Hawaii, which he hoped would be picked up as a new series. According to his biography, Jack Lord in Acting Life, he intended to be a producer and director of the series. When the series wasn't picked up by the network, Lord simply retired and turned his creative energies to his painting. His art was so successful that several of his works became part of museum collections around the world. Jack Lord never appeared in another acting role after Hawaii Five-0 and even turned down numerous offers to make cameo appearances on another hit show filmed in Hawaii, Magnum P.I. Lord and his wife Marie lived out the rest of their lives together in Hawaii. He passed away in the Aloha State in 1998 at age 77. Every fan of Hawaii Five-0 knows that Detective Steve McGarrett ended many of the episodes by instructing his partner, Detective Danny Williams, to gather the criminals and
book 'em, Dano.
James MacArthur portrayed the straight-laced, boyish police officer on the show from its debut in 1968 until one season before its run ended in 1980. The adopted son of Oscar-winning actress Helen Hayes, MacArthur was raised in and around the theater. He attended Harvard University but left school to pursue an acting career. With high-profile roles in hit movies like Swiss Family Robinson, MacArthur was already a rising star in Hollywood when he was offered the role of Danny Williams on Hawaii Five-0. He replaced Tim O'Kelly, the original actor cast in the role who did not test well with audiences.
I just can't crack 'em.
MacArthur saved much of his salary from the show and invested heavily in real estate in Hawaii, amassing a considerable fortune. MacArthur eventually grew bored with the character, leaving the show after its 11th season and returning to supporting roles on TV and the stage for the rest of his career. He returned to the role of Danny Williams in a 1997 sequel to Hawaii Five-0, in which the former detective had become governor of Hawaii, but the show was never aired. MacArthur passed away in 2010 at the age of 72. Kam Fong Chun played Detective Chin Ho Kelly on Hawaii Five-0. He was born in the Kalihi neighborhood of Honolulu in 1918. Chun was working as a boilermaker at the Pearl Harbor shipyard on December 7, 1941, when the harbor was attacked. He survived, but another tragedy struck 3 years later. 2 planes crashed into his home, taking the lives of his wife and children. Chun served as a police officer until retiring in 1959 to pursue acting, and began performing with the Honolulu Community Theater Group. The Hawaii Five-0 casting staff often turned to this group for background actors, so Chun didn't have to audition for the series. He played the role until 1978, when he felt the scripts had become stale and asked to be written off the show. Chun's later roles include the unaired 1997 Hawaii Five-0 TV movie sequel, even though his character was killed off in the original series. He also hosted a morning radio show in Hawaii in the 1980s and ran for governor in 1988. His campaign slogan was, "Give a damn, vote for Kam." He passed away in 2002 at the age of 84. Herman Wedemeyer, known to fans as Duke Lakella on Hawaii Five-0, first gained fame as a football player. He was named an All-American while playing for St. Mary's College in California in 1945. He earned the nickname Squirmin' Herman and the Hula-Hipped Hawaiian because he was so tough on the defense. Wedemeyer was inducted into both the National Football Foundation College Hall of Fame and the Hawaii Sports Hall of Fame. Wedemeyer successfully ran for Honolulu City Council in 1968, then for Hawaii's House of Representatives in 1970 and 1972. He was appearing in small roles on Hawaii Five-0 at times during his political career, but in 1972, Wedemeyer's opponent in the House of Representatives race complained that his appearance on the show violated the FCC's requirement that political candidates receive equal airtime. In response, a local TV station pulled a Hawaii Five-0 episode from the air. Nevertheless, Wedemeyer eventually solidified the character of Duke Lakella during the 5th season. He remained with the show until its cancellation in 1980 and only appeared in 2 other acting roles before his death in 1999 at the age of 74. Harry Endo was working as a savings and loan executive when he was cast as forensic scientist Che Fong in Season 2 of Hawaii Five-0. Endo also worked as a newscaster for Honolulu station KHVH in the late 1960s and appeared in several local commercials for Territorial Savings Bank. Endo was offered a spot on Hawaii Five-0 while he was working on a commercial. Endo appeared in a few small TV roles after the show's end in 1980, including one episode of Magnum P.I. By the 1990s, Endo had returned to his roots as the vice president of marketing at the Honolulu Federal Savings and Loan Association. Endo passed away in 2009 at the age of 86 after suffering a stroke. Nicknamed Zulu in high school, Gilbert Lani Kauhi was a natural entertainer known for singing for any crowd he could find. He also worked as a disc jockey for a radio station and even tried his hand at stand-up comedy. He played Detective Kono Kalakaua on Hawaii Five-0 for 4 seasons, but he was fired in 1971 after getting into an altercation with publicist Len Wiseman and using racial slurs. Zulu reportedly expressed frustration with the limited nature of his role on the show.
May I?
Yeah, help yourself.
Chaser.
Kauhi created a nightclub act and continued to perform at local hotels with great success, but his life took a downward turn in the 1980s when he was convicted of negligent homicide after killing a bicyclist with his car. He received 1 year's probation, but his health began to fail. He was diagnosed with high blood pressure and had heart surgery in 2000. He was also diagnosed with diabetes and had to go on dialysis. A kidney transplant wasn't sufficient, and he was waiting for a second kidney when he passed away in 2004 at the age of 66. As Governor Paul Jameson, Richard Denning was the only actor to appear in all 12 seasons of Hawaii Five-0 besides Jack Lord. Denning started acting in college and worked in his father's clothing business.
That's not good enough.
Winning a contest on a radio program called Do You Want to Be an Actor led to a contract with Paramount Pictures. Denning enjoyed his steady career before joining the Navy in World War II. After the war, he gained more attention in iconic films like Creature from the Black Lagoon and An Affair to Remember. In addition to starring in the series Mr. and Mrs. North, Denning's television appearances included the 1966 musical Alice Through the Looking Glass and McCloud. But Hawaii Five-0 gave him his longest-running regular TV role. Since the show was shot on location in Hawaii, Denning and his wife moved to Maui instead of commuting from the mainland. When the show ended in 1980, Denning was 66 years old and the couple chose to remain in Hawaii. He went on to work with the Boy Scouts of America as an executive director and served on the Maui Chamber of Commerce. He passed away in 1998 at the age of 84. Al Harrington, Hawaii Five-0's Detective Ben Kukua, was born in American Samoa in 1935. He moved to Honolulu in 1938, and after graduating college, Harrington taught at the University of Hawaii while pursuing a career as an entertainer. Billing himself the South Pacific Man, Harrington sang and danced through the Waikiki entertainment circuit. His first television roles were small parts in Hawaii Five-0. When it was necessary to replace Zulu in 1972, Harrington joined the series in the regular Detective Kukua role, which he played for 3 years. After leaving Hawaii Five-0, Harrington appeared on classic shows such as The Jeffersons, Magnum P.I., and Scrubs. When CBS rebooted Hawaii Five-0, Harrington signed on to play a new character, surf shop owner Mamo Kahike, from 2011 to 2018. Harrington continued to perform as the South Pacific Man well into the 1990s and sang on a float during the 1990 Honolulu Thanksgiving Day Parade. His last role was on the Disney Plus series Yugi Kamealoha MD. He died in 2021 at the age of 85. Born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1915, Al Eben joined the cast of Hawaii Five-0 as medical examiner Doc Bergman from 1971 until 1979. Eben had a long career as a character actor, appearing in Broadway shows such as Pins and Needles, TV shows like Petticoat Junction, and many films, including a small role as Solly in the classic film Citizen Kane. When Eben was cast in Hawaii Five-0, he and his wife lived on the island for the first 4 years. In 1975, they returned to Los Angeles and he flew to Hawaii to play the role. After the series ended, Eben appeared in a 1999 episode of Everybody Loves Raymond and in the 2001 film Corky Romano. After retiring from acting, Eben spent his time serving his community, working with the Santa Monica Emeritus Players and reading for elementary school and kindergarten students, activities he kept up until he passed away in 2003 at the age of 88. Season 2 of Hawaii Five-0 introduced Peggy Ryan as Jenny Sherman, Steve McGarrett's secretary. Ryan was already a Golden Age Hollywood veteran. She began acting at the age of 5 and appeared in her first feature film when she was just 13. For 2 decades, she appeared in dozens of films, with box office stars like Abbott and Costello and Here Come the Coeds. She and musical legend Donald O'Connor became a top dancing team in several movies. Ryan's last film role was in All Ashore in 1953 opposite dancer Ray McDonald and Mickey Rooney. In 1958, she married newspaper columnist and novelist Eddie Sherman and moved to Honolulu. There, she taught dancing and choreographed local stage productions until she was cast as Jenny Sherman. After Hawaii Five-0, she moved to Las Vegas, where she also taught and produced, remaining active in both until her death in 2004 at age 80. Hawaii native Danny Kamekona made his acting debut on Hawaii Five-0 in 1968. Kamekona played over 30 small roles on the show, but is most frequently recalled as Sergeant Nick Noble. Kamekona was with Hawaii Five-0 until the series ended in 1980, later appearing in such series as Magnum P.I., Sanford & Son, and Barnaby Jones. His most famous movie role was the villainous Sato in The Karate Kid Part 2. His other films include Black Widow, Problem Child, and Honeymoon in Vegas. His final acting role was Henry in a revival of Burke's Law from 1994 to 1995. Kamekona died in his sleep of natural causes in 1996 at the age of 60. Glenn Cannon joined the cast of Hawaii Five-0 in Season 4 as John Manicott, the Assistant District Attorney and later Attorney General. As a young actor, Cannon worked extensively on Broadway and in the early days of TV on classic shows like Alfred Hitchcock Presents, in which he played a killer on the run named Davy.
In case you're wondering, Davy was apprehended by the police.
Cannon was as much an educator as an actor. He moved to Hawaii in 1968 to accept the role of Professor of Drama at the University of Hawaii, a post he kept after landing Hawaii Five-0 and for the rest of his life. After Hawaii Five-0, Cannon's other TV work included a recurring role on Magnum P.I. He was president of his local Screen Actors Guild for over 20 years and directed over 160 local community theater plays. Cannon passed away in April 2013 at age 80. Hawaii Five-0 is such a strong concept that it's one of the few series with a successful reboot. But there will always be a special mahalo for the classic that first bid us aloha.